because in a stroke of genius, there's this fascinating little building. You don't see many of these old canopies left anymore. Well, welcome to the Old Classic Car channel. It's Saturday. Tomorrow we are off to the first meet at Combermere at the Old Piggery Cafe at the Combermere Business Park. So we're heading over there tomorrow in the oldie dodgy over there, and possibly the MX5 as well. So Harley gave that a quick wash, and he gave this a rinse as well, the little standard 8. So we'll probably take that for a little spin because it hasn't been out for a little while. But yeah, the MX5 is looking well. The MOT is up on that this week, so that's one of the jobs to do early in the week, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. And the Dodge, we've had that running. I haven't changed the petrol pump. I have left the fixed reproduction petrol pump in that just to see how that goes. But I will be taking the other one with us. Hello there. Yes, I will be taking the other one with us in the back in the spares pile, just in case we hit an issue. That's in this old ammo case in the back here, dated 1944, so just 3 years older than the truck itself. So in here we've got the fuel pump is wrapped up in there. We've got a spare rotor arm in here, nice old auto light boxes, and a spare dizzy cap as well. I bought a few spare ones of these when Big Dodge was being sorted out all those years ago, and various other tools as well, just in case. So that seems to work. So fingers crossed we'll have a good run out in this tomorrow over to Combermere. This meeting hasn't been on for a few months, what with winter and so on, but it's all back on now, and it's scheduled, I think, to be the first Sunday of the month. Have a look on the Facebook page. The Old Piggery Cafe is the place, but the Facebook page, I think, for this meeting is Cars and Caffeine at Combermere or something like that. So check that out if you're planning on popping over to that particular meet. There's always a good mix of old cars and sports cars and so on. And tomorrow, hopefully, there'll be a little old pickup truck there. So what are you up to? Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to clean up an XJ grill.
Oh, you're cleaning up a grill. So this will be on your car traction channel, will it?
It will be the shed repaint video.
Oh, the shed repaint video, yes. So, what's this then? So this was a spare that your granddad had for one of his Series 3 XJs. I can't remember if it was the 6 or the V12.
It was definitely a V12. That's 5.
Yeah, it probably was, but I can't remember if this is the one that was off the car and he put a better one on the car, or if he just got this in just to sort of have in stock just in case and hang on the wall to look nice. I can't remember quite.
It's not a shadow of a doubt this isn't a V12.
Well, they are the same, the Series 3s.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes you can just tell when it's a V12.
Can you? Yeah. Well, okay, we'll go with that. So what else have we been doing this morning? Well, I spotted a bit of woodworm up there in the roof, so we've been giving that a bit of a treat. It's looking a little bit chaotic on the oldie workbench at the moment, which isn't great, but as soon as that's all dried off I can start hanging some of the stuff back up again. These benches have a bit of a story to them as well. Like I said in the previous video, that those old metal shelves there came out of what was RAF Burton wood, and this bench and the one over the way are from the apprentice shop over at Ellesmere Port, where Vauxhall have got their factory. So these came out of the apprentice workshops many years ago, so I'm guessing probably in the 50s and the 60s. So what cars would have been current at the time? The Vauxhall Cresters, and maybe the FB Victor, FC Victor, the 101, the VX 490, maybe that kind of era, Vivas and so on. So these have got a bit of a car background to them as well. They're very heavy, properly made big heavy old benches, so these are great, these are. So when the opportunity came up to buy a couple of these many years ago, I didn't waste any time at all. While I had the tub of woodworm killer out, I thought I'd treat this box, this old toolbox. There's the tools that were in it. Beautiful old set of sockets, really lovely things. Well, this is American. Let's see if I can have a quick look over here. Harley's busy on his video. These tools, this is the universal, let's get a bit of light on things, the universal wrench set. Somewhere in America, something corporation. That's a beautiful little box, that is. Complete with its original catch on it as well, so let's see if we can get that open. There we go. Oh, you can see a better label there. The Universal Wrench Set, manufactured by the Eastern Machine Screw Corporation, New Haven, Connecticut, USA. What a beautiful old box that is. Perhaps this should live in the back of Little Dodge, maybe. There's just a little bit of woodworm there as well, so I've just been treating that to make sure it doesn't get any worse. Probably wants just a couple of little tacks in there just to sort of hold things together a little bit. But yeah, that's probably what, 1920s. I wouldn't have thought it was much later than that. But it's just a lovely set of old tools that can stay outside actually while it's drying off. But yeah, proper old tools. If these spanners could talk, what would they say? Oh, we do like a good bit of spanner talk. Look at that. Aren't they just lovely? Anyway, that's that. So, like I say, the other week we had this out, but today we are getting the Dodge truck ready for the meet over at the Old Piggery Cafe tomorrow. So fingers crossed that'll all go to plan. And I do plan to also have a look at a little building while we're over that way that does have a very interesting link to the motor industry here in the UK around about 100 years or so ago. So that should be quite interesting. So please keep an eye on the video just for that, which should hopefully, all being well, be filmed tomorrow, so long as the weather's okay, because you're never quite sure. But if the weather's alright, I'll do a bit of filming there as well. There he goes, Tarantino's at work. One thing I do want to do this afternoon, while we're playing catch up with a few little jobs here and there around the place, I noticed a couple of drips from the cylinder head on the 4CV. Now the head was taken off, I believe. The previous owner took the head off last year, and obviously put it back on, new head gasket and so on. But once you've run them a little bit, you do have to recheck the torque settings on the cylinder head bolts, which are along here and also under the cover here, under the rocker cover. So we're going to whiz that off and just have a look and just double check. I think in the handbook, in the workshop manual, it does give you the torque settings. And I've dug out the manual for the Renault 4. There we go. Specifications, adjustments and shop repairs. Renault 1062 is the model code for this particular car and engine. And here we have both the sequence, the order in which you tighten and retighten the head bolts, but also the torque requirement, 36 to 43 foot-pounds. Okay, there's the rocker cover off. It's just how long my two knurled nuts. That's all nice and easy to get at. So those are the ones you need to tighten up on the outside. And the other ones are tucked down there. So I'll need to see what size socket we need for that. Then set the torque wrench to the settings that it gives here. Okay, well I grabbed the torque wrench and there it is. The important thing to remember with these is, if you're using one of these, is always wind it off after you've finished, because if it spends years in a cupboard on a setting, it can affect the accuracy when you next use it. So always wind it off back beyond zero when you're finished with it. That was drilled into me many years ago. So it's not off now. I have to think in metric. The socket that I needed for the head bolts is 14 millimeters. Again, it's been a while since I had to use a metric socket, so I'll just put that there out of the way, out of harm's way, so I don't lose that. So 40 foot-pounds is 54 Newton meters, so I'll set this, wind this up until it aligns with roughly 54 Newton meters, and then we should be good to go. Well, that didn't last too long, because in a stroke of genius it's been made so tight to get at these bolts down there, no sockets will go down there because the rocker assembly is in the way. So that's genius. So I've tried a few different ones. There's a slightly slimmer one there, which is on a smaller thing altogether, so I can get that in there. And that one will go in there, I think. But I'm going to have to shelve this idea until I get, maybe, that I can get a very slim walled long socket to fit in there. The ones that I've checked so far have all been bob on, so they just clicked spot on, so I think they're probably pretty much there or thereabouts, so I'm not too concerned. But going forwards, I think I'll need to find a nice slimline socket that will fit those nice and easily without having to take the rocker assembly off, because that'd be a bit of a palaver. It seems a bit silly to have to do that just to check the torque settings on the head bolt. So anyway, that's just one of those things. Okay, what next? Right, a 40 Mark II grill. Harley kindly donated this back to me. He used to have it in his workshop, he hasn't got room for it now, so he's taken on the XJ Series 3 grill that we saw before, so I just need to hang this up somewhere out of the way. Well, we've made it here to Combermere. There we go. The Old Piggery Cafe, the Parkview Business Centre. It's the first meet here of 2023. So there'll be a mixture of sports cars and classic cars and a bit in between, I would imagine. A real nice midget, and it's not just any midget, it's a round arch midget. These are a little bit rarer. They didn't make these for too long. They did revert back to the squared off arches after a little while. That's a bonny little car. Alongside Dad's MGB, which we've seen at many of these events, and it's good to see it here too. A 1985 Fiesta Mark II. Getting rare now, these clean examples of these. And is this a limited edition? It's a Panache. I don't remember that one. So it's a Popular Plus limited edition. Maybe this was like a dealer. Sometimes dealers would take it upon themselves to come up with their own limited edition, so maybe it's something like that. Knutsford Motors. Nice clean arches as well, that's always a good sign. Spitfire here with Triumph tuned twin exhausts on it. We often see yellow Spitfire at some of these meets, but it's not this one. This one's on wires, knock-on wires. A few yellow cars here today, including this wonderful Lotus Elan fixed head. They do look great, those wheels with the centre knock-ons, they're just fantastic. I do like those a lot. There's quite a few motorbikes here actually. There's always a good contingent of Porsches here. Like I say, a mixture of old and new. They're all pouring in, must be a club run out to here, but we'll try and focus on the older cars today, I think. The 36 3 Series Coupe. Which one's this? There are many different engine sizes available for these. This is an M3, it says, with an AC Schnitzer spoiler on the back. Is it an M3? I don't know. I don't know enough about them, so you'll have to help me out, but I've got a feeling that's an M3 door mirror. I think that two-piece mounting, or yeah, the two pieces there, I think that's an M3 thing, but you know, if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments, because like I say, it's not really something I know much about. A fantastic rally prepped Mark II Escort. This sounded glorious when it came in, straight cut gears, I think. Carry on down the line. A nice Triumph Stag with hard top. MGB, this was at Hopley House last weekend. It's an auto. You can have autos or manuals. Same 3 litre V8. These are the wheels of the Mark II Triumph Stag. I think the earlier Mark 1s had, as standard, they had the steel wheels with like a tin wheel trim on, and those sill covers, the stainless sill covers, are a Mark II feature as well. These are quite rare actually. Many sports cars here today, but this caught my eye. Years ago we used to have a Z3, a 2.8, but this is the Z3M with the M3 engine. That's fantastic. Those go really nicely. 4 exhaust pipes at the back. That's usually the giveaway that you're looking at the M. The really beefy rear arches and wheels as well. But these are really nice. About 321 brake horsepower when they were new, if memory serves. I did read up a bit on these a long time ago. One of the weaknesses with these cars, as I remember, when I was into Z3s a little bit, because of the power that these engines put out, they are prone to tearing the diff mountings out of the boot floor. So if you're looking at a Z3M, especially one that's been driven in a spirited fashion, just check the mountings in the boot floor, lift the carpet up and have a good look there, because sometimes, like I say, the diff mountings get pulled out by over-exuberant traffic light Grand Prix and so on. Anyway, let's go and see what else is here. Got a late Morgan. Well, it's a brand new Morgan, in fact. What do we think about Morgans then? Let me know in the comments. Many Porsches and TVRs. Got MGTF down here on an 05 plate. That's quite a late one, I would have thought. Let's keep going, work our way back up here past many Lotuses, Porsches. Lots of Porsches here. I think there's a bit of a club run out here today, so that's all good to see. Always good to see these events being supported. I don't know what half of these cars are. There's a TVR Griffith, Chimera, late Chimera with the covers over the headlights. Another one, Chimera. And beautiful backdrop as well, these old brick walls of this building.
They'll come back to you.
The Griffith, that's one of my favourites of this era. Very appropriate registration as well. Very neat. Some motorbikes and a Jaguar. Over here we've got a Porsche 914. This one rolls out regularly here at Combermere Business Park. Such a quirky 1970s car, so different than the 911s that Porsche at the time were best known for. Next to the Ultimate, we've got this lovely little Porsche here on the old Fuchs wheels. This is a 911T. Handily gives us the engine size on the rear cover there, 2.4. These early Porsches are just lovely, I think. Really impressive looking and sounding AMG Mercedes. Not really the sort of cars that I'm interested in, but it's not, yeah, there's no denying they're impressive looking things. Got some Fiat 124 Spiders over here, the latest ones. I think these are based on the MX5 or something, I'm not quite sure, but something like that. There's that modified Ford truck we've seen before. There's that TR that came in before. Now, is it a 5 or is it a TR250? So this is the TR250. So the TR5 was the 2.5 litre fuel injected car for the UK market. But if this is a TR250, then this started out as an American market car on carburetors, if memory serves. Now, if that's the case, this has obviously been brought back into the country and converted to right-hand drive. And to be honest, I do love a TR5 rather, and if I was going to get one, I would look out one on carburetors, because I think it'd just be a lot less of a headache to run a car on 2 or 3 carburetors than the old Lucas fuel injection, which never had a great reputation back in the day, and even I'm sure they're better now than they were 40 years ago, 50 years ago, but even so, as a bit of a Luddite, I think I would go with carburetors, and that's the one that I would have. There's that great sports hatch Vauxhall. And this TR6 sounded glorious. This came past the house yesterday actually. I was just chatting to the owner of this. He's had this quite a long time and he put the hardtop on only recently. And it's a beautiful sounding car, this, with a fuel injected 2.5 litre engine. Next to that, a one-off Riley. This is a Riley 12.4 Special. I had a ride in this many years ago and it went really, really well. It's surprising, you think, oh, vintage car, maybe not that fast, but it was certainly a lot of fun to ride in. It's great to see it here today. BVW 523. That looks like a lot of fun. Pretty drafty, mind you, but I'm sure you get plenty of heat from the engine and gearbox because there's not a lot of trim in there. And the de rigueur leather driving gloves, of course. Quick release fuel filler. The 2 people that I used to know that owned this a few years back, they used to go sprinting and doing a bit of hill climbing in the VSCC with this actual car. A couple of SUs there poking out the side of the bonnet. Yeah, so it's had a fair bit of competition use, this car, so it's a good road car, and you can also take it at Prescott Hill Climb if you so desire. So what a perfect car that is. What a lot of fun. The passenger has the added bonus of the exhaust running down their side if you want a bit of extra heat, just don't burn your arm. This lovely TR4A turns up at various local meetings, most recently the Hopley House Farm Shop meet last weekend. Mrs OCC brought the MX5. We came over in the truck. Is that a Noble? Twin cam Escort. This Ferrari's a bit of kit, isn't it? Wow. Don't fancy changing the plugs on it though. A beautiful Porsche RS. That is probably ultimate 911 in my book. DB5. 911 Targa. That's on an E plate. What's that, about 86, 87, something like that. And a very distinctive sound of the air-cooled 911 as opposed to the water-cooled newer cars. Nice MG. What a Bobby Dazzler that is.
Get off the road. There might be some space down near the road.
Car park's certainly filling up now. Real mix of old and new. Let's have a better look at this camper. Unusual wheels, what are they? Speedwell wheels. Is that the same Speedwell that used to do tuning bits for British cars back in the 50s and 60s? That's the Spirit. Another California. Because obviously our little truck over there was originally from California. Now this Parkview Business Centre is in some of the old buildings that are on the outskirts of Combermere Abbey, which is just over the back over there, over the trees. But a little bit later on today I plan to have a walk down the road here, because up there is a very interesting little building hidden in the trees, much less grand than the Combermere Abbey, but arguably just as historically significant, especially to a petrolhead like me and most of the people watching this, I guess. So we'll take a little stroll up there a bit later when things quieten off here, and I'll go and have a look at this building and talk to you a little bit more about it, because it is a really interesting little place. It looks quite a modest little building, but it's got a very interesting story to tell.
I make sure you get to it. You know, you feel like...
Just noticed in the Elan here there's a bit of an information sheet, so we do like our information sheet, so let's have a look. Lotus Elan S4 1969. I'll just hold this here, then you can pause the video. First registered in 1969, used by Lotus as a demonstrator in 68 when it was painted Wedgwood blue. That colour was not a standard option in 69, so it was repainted, and the current Lotus yellow was applied sometime in the 1990s. A replacement galvanised Lotus chassis. So it's got an interesting history, this one. What a great little car that is. You can hear a burble of a Triumph Stag, and there's that white Stag that came in a moment ago. Automatic. The 33 series just hiding in this little back parking area. There's that Figaro we saw driving in before. BMW, Porsche. There's that Jaguar, the Beamer, little Rover Metro. Yeah, a bit of everything here today at the Old Piggery Cafe here at the Combermere Business Centre. Bit of everything, including a Mark 1 Golf. A 1.6i Escort convertible, 1984. It's nearly 40 years old. The Ferrari with the engine at the proper end, which is good to see. But over here I wanted to have a bit of a look at this 6-cylinder Rover P4 that came in a few minutes back. What a great car, that is a Rover 90. And it's a beautiful example. Many of these had alloy skinned doors. Later cars I think were steel skinned. Yeah, it's a real quality car, isn't it? And proper number plates. Let's have a look.
Blue Mel's ones.
Blue Mel's plate.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah. We approve of proper number plates and proper little badges. Lovely little badges.
Lovely condition.
It's a beauty, isn't it? Wow. Blue leather seats. Yeah. Proper quality Rovers. Oh, that V8 Ford Coupe's turned up. Wow. What a great era for car design this was. It would have looked just as cool without the chop, but yeah, it's great to see it here. Now, we saw a DB5 coming in before. Let's go see if we can find that, because reportedly it's down here somewhere. I only saw it driving in, but I didn't see where it parked up, so let's go see if we can find it. Oh, that's a stylish bit of kit.
pushing that car.
What a beautiful car that is. So, one of those on E-Type, which would you have? Let me know in the comments. Be interesting to drive them both actually. I've driven neither of them, so it'd be interesting to see how they go. I think based on looks alone, it would definitely be one of these. Preferably not in silver, because that's a bit obvious silver, but a metallic blue like this, or even that very light metallic green that many of the racing Aston Martins in the 1950s were finished, like the DB3S's and the DBRs. That would be a beautiful colour for one of these. And I love these Torino wheels. Glorious car. Over here we've got a glorious Austin Healey. What a belter that is. This one lives fairly local to us. Isn't that a tasty looking car? Not quite sure what this is alongside. I think it's a silver. Is it a Silver Fury or something like that? Also in bright yellow, very similar colour to the MX5 actually. It's almost identical, isn't it? It's almost identical colour, that. Oh, it's like a home built, isn't it? One or two people are starting to disappear now. We'll be here for a little bit longer, I'm sure. There's that wonderful 4-seat Tourer MG. Right, I'm just going to take a walk up the road here and find this little old building that I just want to have a quick talk about. Bit of a hidden gem here on the Cheshire-Shropshire border. And over there in the trees is the building that I'm talking about. Now you can't see this normally during the summer because all the trees are in leaf and everything, but this time of year you can still make it out. I'll just go and have a bit of a closer look at it. That old corrugated tin building just hiding away there behind those trees. Right, so over to our right behind the trees and some way back down over there is Combermere Abbey, the entrance to which is just up there. But we're not interested in Combermere Abbey. We are interested
in a scruffy old shed.
in a scruffy old shed. But that isn't a scruffy old shed, because 100 or so years ago that was a little aircraft hangar. But there is, I promise, there is a link to cars in here somewhere, so don't switch off just yet, because that's got quite a bit of an interesting past, this little old tin building. So just across the way from Combermere Abbey, which is over there, is this fascinating little building. Now the gate's open, but I won't go in because that wouldn't be proper. But in 1919, a gentleman called Sir Kenneth Crossley bought the Combermere estate. And if you know your old British cars, especially vintage cars, Crossley is a name that you may well be familiar with. It was a car maker based in Manchester, and as well as making cars, they produced all manner of lorries, charabancs, staff cars in the First World War, lorries for the Second World War, and they also assembled aircraft in a factory that they had over in Stockport. So Sir Kenneth had his finger in many, many pies, and he was also a keen aviator, and rather than drive to his factories over Manchester way, he would fly, and he used to keep his aeroplane in this here. This was his hangar, and that field over there was known back in the day as the Aerodrome Field. This was the landing ground, and this was the hangar where he used to keep his aeroplane. But not just Sir Kenneth Crossley, because in 1930 his daughter, who I think was called Fidelia I think it was, Crossley, she also took her pilot's licence, got her pilot's licence in 1930, and in 1931 she competed in the King's Cup air races, so she was very much a pioneer female aviator here in the UK at the time, in the late 1920s and 1930s. So this is a very historic little building with a link to the Crossley Motor Car Company, so that's why I thought I would include it here on this video. Now, this land is no longer part of the Combermere Abbey estate. It was sold off many years ago. Much of the land around here at one time, 100 or so years ago, was part of the Combermere estate, which, like I say, is just over there. So I'm not quite sure who owns this now. But it really wants looking after, because it's had quite a few different aircraft used to live here, apparently. G-ADKC, a de Havilland DH-87B Hornet Moth, was one of the aircraft that was based here, apparently. And this landing ground, presumably you get a few visitors here as well. So yeah, it's an interesting place, but to drive past now, you'd never know that there was an interesting aviation and car bit of history. There's a Honda S2000. But you'd never realise that there was an interesting bit of history just with this fairly anonymous looking corrugated building that's slowly being consumed by the trees and the undergrowth. The Crossley car maker was a big deal back in the 1920s and the 1930s. In fact, Henry Ford visited the Manchester factory to get some ideas about assembly line construction before he actually set up producing his own cars, apparently. So whereas Henry Ford is credited with the sort of mass production and assembly line production of motor cars, he got much of his inspiration from the Crossley factory. So there's an interesting bit of history in this area relating to cars. I know there have, in more recent times, there have been some Crossley car gatherings over at the Combermere Abbey, but I'm sure this building here is pretty much forgotten about. So I wanted to include it in this video because it's just such an important little building, and if I had room for it and if I could buy that building and put it up in the garden, I would be there like a shot. But what a great little building that is, and so much history wrapped up in that little corrugated tin shed. So yeah, hundreds of people drive past here every day. Well, there's that lovely 911. But hundreds of people drive past here every day and probably don't realise what this little building is all about. Most of them probably don't care, to be honest, but as I like old buildings and anything related to cars, aircraft and transport in general, it's a very special little building, I think. Like I say, we could go walking in, but we won't. Let's just have a quick walk up here and just see if we can see anything at the other end of the building. You can actually see through it. There's rotten holes in the side there, so the front doors are no longer there. You can see daylight through to the other side. You'd never know that 100 or so years ago that used to accommodate one or more little airplanes, little biplanes, de Havilland biplanes and so on. And I believe that Fidelia, at one point, she even had a thing called a Compass Swift, which I think was built over on the Wirral somewhere. And that was bought, I can't remember where that was bought from, possibly from Sir Malcolm Campbell, because he had his own aviation business as well as being a land speed record chap. He also bought and sold aircraft, and I've got a feeling it's from Malcolm Campbell that she bought her Compass Swift. So yeah, lots of history wrapped up over here. I'm not sure if that's the field they used. It's more likely, if that boundary is an old boundary, it's more likely to be the field over there. But yeah, interesting little place, I think. What do you reckon?
It could be quite a nice looking bar.
Yeah, wants a bit of preserving, doesn't it? Yes. Well, that's it, with buildings like this, you just never know. One day you might just turn up here and it's all been cleared. So it's important to record these things while you get the chance. It's a little bit muddy here, so... But yeah, that's the field over there that would have been used as the aerodrome field, it was called, in the 1920s and the 1930s. Anyway, that's just a quick diversion, but I wanted to walk up here and just have a quick look at this building, so I hope that wasn't too boring. And yeah, wouldn't it be great if this was just tidied up a bit, fix those windows, get some doors on the other side and see it preserved, because I really think it deserves it. Let me know in the comments if you like these old buildings. I love history, that's sort of the history that you can actually sort of associate with. It isn't too far back. So this was around 90, 100 years ago or so this was used. And same for that field over there. So that's where the aircraft would have been coming and going on the way and returning from Manchester. Right, let's get back to the gathering down at the business park and Old Piggery Cafe.
See you again, my friend.
Straggler in the back. I get it every time I go to that Costa to meet up with the guys because I love that dual carriageway. That way.
Right, well the car park is beginning to look a little sparse now, so I think we'll head back and have some lunch. Anyway, the oldie dodgy got us here safe and sound in one piece, so hopefully our run back home will be equally uneventful. Fingers crossed. Well, we've had a bite to eat, the Dodge is safely tucked away in the garage at home, and we've come down for the afternoon to what was RAF Sleep, now home to the Shropshire Aero Club. There's a little MX5 over there, but there are some lovely old aircraft here today that we've spotted, so we're going to take a bit of footage of those and watch them flying around doing circuits and bumps and so on. So yeah, we're really looking forward to spending an hour or two down here this afternoon. It's a great place to come, there's a great cafe, so if you're ever in the area just near Wem in Shropshire, it's well worth popping into Sleep because it's a great little place this, you just don't know what you're going to see. That's the old original wartime control tower, and incredibly on 2 separate occasions during the Second World War, bombers that were taking off from here actually crashed into that building. It's a very historic place. There's so many little signs of the wartime past. This little building here, this must have been here a very long time. Many of the buildings have gone, but happily some of them are still here. Well, that was a bit of a treat. We've only been here for an hour or two and we got to see that Trojan flying. What a belter that is. And one of the buckers, which is round the corner there somewhere. I think it's gone back in its hangar. The little Grumman looks like it's about to take off fairly soon, and I think we will probably do the same. But on the way back, I want to pop in and just have a quick look at an oldie worldy garage that I remember seeing a few years ago. I'm sure Harley will be delighted about this. You forgot about that, didn't you? But yeah, we're going to have a quick look and see if there's still an old garage in Wem, which is just a few miles up the road from here. What a great day it's been so far. Right, we've just stopped up and just have a quick look at this fantastic old garage here. This has been here a long time. I love the old canopy that's still there over the fuel pumps. Let's try and get across here before we get run over. You don't see many of these old canopies left anymore. I'm guessing by the blue this used to be a Ford garage or something at one time. Clearly whoever owns it now has a bit of a soft spot for Peugeot 205s. Let's have a quick look through the window. But yeah, that goes back, what, to the 50s probably, something like that. What a great old arch that is. A great canopy.
What a great old arch that is.
It's great, isn't it?
I just haven't heard you say that before.
No, I don't think there's much in here. There used to be one or two cars in here, but there's nothing much interesting now. Well, 205, very, very clean 205, saying that. Yeah, this is what I'm impressed with, this canopy. You can just imagine the old pumps that would have been here with the illuminated globes and everything under that canopy. It's just fantastic. Could do with a bit of a sandblasting and a lick of paint, but at least it's still here. That's quite a rare survivor, I think. A 205. A few retro cars dotted around here as well. E36 BMW, a Citroen C15. I know someone who likes those. And another 205, looking a little bit unkempt. North Wales registration. Dear oh dear. I just love looking at these old garages because you never know. Sometime you'll come here and it'll all have been cleared, but hopefully not this one. And look at that fantastic old building there. I mean, that looks a lot older than even the canopy and the garage over there. That part looks probably 1960s or 70s. That's 50s. But this looks really old. And I think that looks fantastic. Isn't it amazing that survived? Wow. So like I say, we're in Wem in Shropshire. And that's where we are at the moment, taking our life in our hands with the traffic passing through. Well, what a great old building that is. I can see a Unipart box up there on the racking. Yeah, it's not changed much around here for a while. Let's see if we can get across. Wow.
It's an automatic, this Peugeot.
Is it?
Last time you saw an automatic one of those.
Anyways, let's get heading back home. But I just wanted to pop in here and have a quick look at this garage and just record it for posterity. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, nice old garage, rare survivor. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this very mixed video. Started the day over at Combermere at the Old Piggery Cafe for the classic car meet this morning. Had a quick bite to eat and then we came down to sunny Shropshire, Sleip Airfield, had a look at some wonderful old aircraft, and to finish off the day we'll look at this fantastic old garage. Thank you very much for watching. Please check out the rest of the channel and consider subscribing if you're not already, and there'll be more videos along very, very soon. So bye for now.